Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today in the Art of Estate Planning. I am joined by our special guest, Lucy Percy of Head and Heart Estate Planning. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Tara. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm actually really delighted to finally have you on as a guest. I'm a big fan of yours, Lucy, and there's a few reasons I wanted to have you on as one of the guests here, because I think you have a lot to share for all members of the group, whether you're a lawyer or a financial advisor or accountant. And I've been watching your journey with your estate planning business for maybe, is it 2 years?
About 18 months, yeah.
18 months now. And I think it's been really inspiring and I'm a big fan. So for everybody out there, Lucy, do you want to explain where you're based and what your business is?
Yeah, so I'm a sole practitioner in Melbourne and my firm trades as Head and Heart Estate Planning. So I spent a lot of time before I named my firm thinking about who I wanted to work with, and I came up with families like my own, and I really want to help people understand that there's a legal element to this planning, but I understand that it's probably all the heart stuff, all the fear around dying or being inadequate in some way that prevents people from actually getting in the process. And I think that if we are open from the outset that it is an emotional event, and I will hold your hand and we'll meet you where you're at, and you don't have to be ashamed or embarrassed about saying what your block to signing those documents or stepping in the door is. I think it makes it a really safe space for people to start their planning.
I mean, I just love that approach to estate planning. When you say it, it's like obviously that's what an estate planning service needs, so much compassion and, soft skills and real life skills. But there's so few law firms who actually bring that into their estate planning service. And I think the way that you approach estate planning is going to be like one of the main factors that changes the landscape of estate planning going forwards in terms of people actually getting their estate planning done. The approach that you take in terms of making it accessible and looking at a whole lot of the psychological factors that associate the process is really important. And I think it's really inspiring. And I love that you are a sole practitioner. You've got 3 kids. How old's Pippa now?
I do. Pippa is maybe 20 months old. So yeah, it's perfect for me.
And I think your journey will be really inspiring to a lot of the lawyers who are in the group, because when I first met you, you were an employed solicitor at another law firm about to go on maternity leave, and I got the impression that you were a bit you wanted to do things a little bit differently, but you're a bit hamstrung by like the policies and the processes and just the way that, trying to fit your personal approach into the sort of stricter law firm approach. And it's been very inspiring to see you set up your own practice with a new baby, by the way. And you just approach doing things in a really innovative way. And I think it's really nice to see, well, if you've got the vision, you can do it. You don't need like all this capital of a big firm or anything like that behind you. And in fact, sometimes it's maybe easier to just have a vision and implement it. So congratulations, and I'm very inspired.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope if anyone is in the same situation or thinks, can they do it, then I hope that it is helpful. I am going to make one comment. I am so lucky and privileged to be in a dual income household, and I really do acknowledge that I've had the grace of my first startup year of being really well supported by my husband. And sometimes I think maybe in like that entrepreneurial talk that's just like, just start, maybe we miss a whole category of people who are not as privileged. It's sometimes not as easy as just starting. But that said, all encouragement, if you're thinking about it, yeah, you can. It is so beautiful and freeing to be able to be authentically yourself. And I've loved that. But I just do always add that caveat that I've been so supported.
Yeah, I think that's very realistic advice as well, because it's like, just start, but don't worry about your money or your bills or anything like that. But I think there's a lot of people who they could make it work, or they have got support structures and they're just sort of held back by the fear, or it feels too hard. And I personally, and I mean, I've been very inspired to see what you've achieved having a new baby. When I was going on maternity leave and thinking, how am I going to, what does my future career look like with a baby? And, seeing what you've achieved. And there's a lot of mums in the group who are doing really awesome stuff in estate planning. So I think it's a real privilege with the way social media and technology is now to sort of watch that journey unfold. So I just want to give you that credit, because I think that you're really leading some of the innovation in the estate planning space, and you don't have to be like one of these big sort of tech law companies to be doing it. It can really just take compassion and some creativity and someone who really cares about their work to make a difference.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
So on that note, I just want to say, I wanted to actually talk to you today, not so much about the client or the direct client work that you're doing with Head and Heart Estate Planning, but about your new online course. Firstly, because again, you're pursuing the innovation. I think this is probably one of the very first estate planning online courses for a retail market, mums and dads, and especially mums out there. So well done on creating that and launching it, particularly during COVID lockdown.
Nice to have it out there.
So we wanted to talk just about that, but then also I think it can be a really valuable tool for some of the members of the group in terms of rounding out their estate planning toolkit, which is why I wanted to showcase it today and talk to you about it in our live. So should we get started on that?
Yes, share my screen. Oh, there we are.
I'll bring it up. I think that's probably better.
Beautiful. So this is the landing page. The course has been titled Future Proof Your Family, an estate planning course. And so the information is, would benefit everyone from any age, but the examples that I've given, the anecdotes and such, are really targeted to people probably my age. My target market is probably girlfriends just like mine with young families, busy professionals. So that's why it sort of used that language and those photos. Now, if I go on that, can I scroll?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So when I'm talking directly to clients or trying to sell it directly to, like you say, the retail market, what I say is it's for people who know they need to do something. They've identified that they have a problem, but they don't actually know why it is a problem. So why is it a problem not to have a will? Why can't I just get a will and not the powers of attorney? I think I've only done 2 clients this year where we have not done the powers of attorney, and it's just about explaining to people, no, that is just like so important. So I think they know intellectually that they need to do something, but really just giving them the courtesy and the respect of saying, before you invest in me or any other estate planning solution, you deserve to know why it actually is a problem. They don't know. And I think one thing that I have really tried to remember or keep at the back of mind, and lots of other lawyers are doing this well, and Claudia King from Automi on Scale Up always said it, don't assume that your audience knows the very, very basics. And then also thinking about, well, what are the questions that people ask me, if we're at a dinner party or, having coffee or whatever, like what are the things that people think are a quick, free piece of advice or information that they can get from you, and why not package it up so that it's can be delivered consistently. It frees up my time from, very soon I'll remove those free 15-minute discovery calls. Like, instead of me spending 15 minutes with you, which invariably goes over, you can purchase all of that information. I can guarantee your question is probably in the course. So it is for people who want to take control but maybe need direction about what solution they're going to use. So in the videos, I have talked the whole way through. I unapologetically say that I think that all wills and powers of attorney estate planning needs to be done with the oversight of a lawyer, or under the banner of a firm, so that there is some type of insurance and all those sorts of things. But I do talk all the way through that, as we probably all agree in this group, that a solution that involves the accountant and the financial planner is certainly appropriate. And this might be a really nice complement to any financial planner or accountant who is looking to take estate planning instructions, and maybe they want to increase, amplify their authority, or have a really cheap way of, instead of one-on-one, them delivering this information, which takes a while, just providing this to the client so that they can learn at their own pace, and so that the information is coming from a second source. And then when they have their meeting with you, you are that trusted advisor, that authority who comes in and answers the really specific questions. And it just means that the time that you spend together is so valuable, because in most matters, we can breeze over, what happens if you don't have a power of attorney, or what sort of executor arrangement should you have. But usually there is sort of one thing that needs some time spent on it, and this will let the clients identify what those things for them might be, and to use your time on those tricky bits, and that's going to feel great for you and great for them. So the course, I suppose the outcomes that I say that people achieve are that they learn what an estate plan is. I don't think we can assume that people understand its assets inside and outside your will and your estate, it's before and after death. And so we talk through that. They will be able to identify what they need help with. So as they do the videos, there is an assessment after each one, and we just simply ask, did you understand the concepts in that video? And then, do you have any questions you'd like to talk to your lawyer or advisor about? And so while it's fresh, top of mind, they can pop in their questions, and then, like I say, you've got a really targeted sort of agenda for your meeting with them. Your clients will be comfortable choosing a solution that you're offering, because they've got a third-party authority who is a lawyer who practices exclusively in this area, saying it's okay to use that solution. And if the advisor and the lawyer, myself, are singing from the same song sheet, and then you've got your other meeting with your actual will provider, I think, what a great comfort for the client to be like, well, hang on, here's 3 different professionals, and they're all comfortable with this, and they're all giving me the same advice. It is obviously good quality. I think this last point, learning in the comfort of your own home and at your own pace, is something that can't be underestimated. I think that we can sometimes we can see the outcome that the client needs to achieve, and we just want to hold their hand and take them there. But actually, it is an emotional process for people, and they do have psychological barriers, or maybe if they're planning as a couple, they might not be on the same page. And if they're at a deadlock or a gridlock on decisions, they might need to start the planning process really early and start negotiation with each other. Or, as I do say, especially on the topic of guardianship, I say to clients, don't let that be the reason you don't sign. Just do your will without the guardians if it's that hard, and move on, and you can come back to it. Or, but just don't let one deadlock be the reason you don't sign. There is so much more in the estate plan than 1 or 2 single decisions. So I think that is super helpful. Do you want me to go to maybe the next really valuable thing would just be to show everyone how basic the lesson titles and purposes are?
Yes, and I'll just while you're sort of bringing that up, I'll just say I haven't watched every single module of the course, but Nash and I watched it while we were playing and everything. And I have to say, you bring a lot of compassion to the information that you convey, and it's not like a boring lecture about legal concepts from the Succession Act. You really do convey the essential information with compassion and an understanding of some of the psychological hurdles that people might have to jump to get ready to embark on the process. And I just think you really talk about it in a very relatable way. And I don't think that can be underestimated, like the power of doing that. And you do a really beautiful job at it. So I was very impressed with that as I was listening.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful to you watching. And I will say that is a comment that almost every single client makes to me after working with me. Wow, you made that accessible. You know, the way you explained it was just, I could understand it. And I do also think that when we're in a meeting room, you know, in Zoom or across the table, I just think we also need to remember that people quite often need visual cues. And so doing it with the course with the presentation behind me, and I made my first draft was almost like word for word what I wanted to say, and then I stripped it back to just dot points. And I didn't want the student to be distracted by what was on the PowerPoints, but I really do think that not everyone can learn that volume of information in 1 hour to 90 minutes sitting with just auditory input. So anyway, that is, I think it helps.
Yeah. And I mean, that's an excellent point. I think being a client in an estate planning meeting, you are just bombarded with information, right? And also a lot of the time the clients turn up to these meetings and they don't have much preparation. They haven't done anything, like they haven't thought about these things. So they're being bombarded with information, technical concepts, especially if you throw in like a testamentary trust or there's a family provision application or any kind of complexity. They're just getting so much information where, as from our perspective as a lawyer, you know, you're trying to ask them all these questions, give them all these advice, develop a strategy, make sure they understand it. There's a lot going on in like a 90-minute meeting. And I think a lot of times people need to hear this stuff several times for it to sink in and to understand, and in advance.
Yes, in advance. And so they can have, I mean, I don't know if you've had, you know, blended family meetings and you'll say, you know, what were you thinking? What's your starting point? And they'll just look at each other and be like, we haven't talked about it. What do you think? And I'm like, people find, like, these conversations are difficult to have at home, or guardianship is obviously, you know, it just can't be understated how much people struggle with that. And so they will have the conversation for the first time in front of you, which is absolutely fine if that feels safe for them. But I think this is a much better alternative.
Especially if they're meeting you for the first time, which is why I'm a huge advocate, obviously, of financial planners and accountants taking a role in project managing the estate planning process, because I find with the clients that I see, they are going to meet me for the very first time in this meeting. I'm trying to cover a whole heap of download information onto them and get the information that I need back, and cover off my insurance obligations from a risk perspective, and try and have these sensitive conversations where I've got to like invoke enough trust for them to reveal this very, you know, sensitive information like from them. Like it's not gonna happen.
No, and I will say, I think a lot of people in this group can do that juggle and find that balance. And I think that is what gives us so much satisfaction in this practice area. That's what I suspect, because that meeting, there are so many different objectives. Like I'm trying to achieve this, I'm trying to achieve that, they're trying to be on the same page. So I think that's what brings, what makes the practice area interesting. But at the same time, this is still really complementary. Yeah.
I mean, I love the idea of it being available for clients before they get into that decision-making, signing kind of meeting, that they have been exposed to these concepts. Maybe they'll hear it again. Like, they probably do need to hear it again, but at least it's not for the very first time. And they've already started thinking or having some conversations off the back of what they've learned. I mean, now that you have made this course, I'm like, oh, well, obviously it's a no-brainer. Why didn't I think of this? I think it's, no matter whether you're the accountant, a lawyer, financial advisor, I think it's a really smart preliminary step to prepare your clients for actually, getting to the point where they're putting a signature on paper.
Yeah, thank you. And I think it's not, one other reason that I, took the time to do it was I do not have aspirations to grow to a big firm. I love the flexibility that I have in my own firm now. And I also don't want to price myself at a point that is accessible to everyone. I don't need to work with everyone. And for me, this is a really great way that, when people message me on Instagram or they say, I loved the way you explained that, or what do you think about this? I can just say, you can buy my course. It's got all of my values and vision for my personal estate plan for my clients, and it is there for $100. And instead of, I think what I was finding was people were booking those phone calls that were meant to be about me scoping the work to quote for them, but really they might never have been planning to spend that amount of money, but they still want to pick your brain. And I thought, it was a bit of a Trojan horse saying I'd like a quote, but actually I've got this stuff to talk about. And I thought, well, this is the solution. And then, if it is very deserving, I think I've said quite a few times before, I've had lots of inquiries from women who have had a history of family violence. I can gift this to them. Like, what a beautiful asset in my toolkit to be able to use in a fantastic way. So it's got lots of applications even beyond clients who will convert for me. And for the clients who do convert for me, it means they know, like, and trust me. And I'm not going to be working with people who are like, that was a funny process, or I didn't love her style, or why did she ask those questions? They'll know me. And if they want to work with me, great. And if they don't, that's okay too. So, yeah.
And Lucy, we've had a question come in. So there's a few different aspects that we want to talk about in terms of how non-lawyers might use this to support their process if they're project managing. But I think there's also lawyers looking at how this could work as well. So we've had a question from Jane, and Jane is, I think, a New South Wales lawyer, and she just would like you to elaborate on how do you, with the people who buy it from you and then become clients of yours, because obviously it's a seamless lead magnet if they, you really sell the value of getting an estate planning done, and I can see how you would get a lot of clients engaging you for their estate plan after this. Do you do anything in terms of deducting the cost of the course from their estate planning later?
I do. So just like the makeup counters, if you get your makeup done, you get the cost of the product free. Yes. So whatever they spend with me here is redeemable off their estate planning package. So yeah, I think that just, makes sense. So really it's like, work with me and you get the course for free. Or if you just want the course, then you've only outlaid $100 if I'm not the right person for you.
I mean, that's amazing value in terms of the knowledge that you communicate here. That's amazing. So should we talk about, what's covered in the course?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll go to the dashboard, which I've kept popping to by accident. Can you see my new screen now?
I can see what's covered, 15 value-packed lessons.
Okay, no, I mean, I want to change my screen.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And then we can just add it back in.
Beautiful, thank you. Information. Sorry for the delay. There we are. Is that up? Okay, so when someone purchases the course, this is the student dashboard, and it is the same platform that Tara you used for yours. So you've been such a great supporter and generous with your knowledge. So this is the homepage, and it is actually a lot. I was like, is this too much? But I thought, you know what? It is everything I want to say, so I just went ahead and said it all. So it's a welcome video, my promise and about me. So a little bit why personally and professionally, I feel like I do have the expertise to, like I say, hold your hand through this. So that is, I'm going to pause here and say with the application where it might apply, or a financial planner, accountant, or maybe family law, commercial lawyer might want to bring some of this into their own practice, this here is where we would probably record a bespoke message together. We would make that welcome video together and co-brand the rest of the course after that. So that's the welcome. Lesson 1 is what is an estate plan. And so in that we talk about the documents, and that it's before and after death, and then we move on to what is in and out of the estate in terms of assets. And I think that is, I think if we, and I won't play it, but I'll show some of the slides. I think, again, if we just sort of take the idea that we can't assume that clients know everything. I think this is like one of those concepts that we're like, I need to tell you this and then we need to move on. But actually this is quite new information, the idea that you can't gift everything in your will, and that it's going to need a complementary set of documents or strategy. So as you can see, the slides are like really quite basic, and if I say so myself, I have branded and kept everything really uniform and beautiful, because I do think that it matters. I think the way that we represent things visually matters. So that is lesson 2. Lesson 3 is why you should use a lawyer, or a solution that involves one meeting with a lawyer. And I know that Tara, you have that market review about all the other options that would, complement that. And then at the end of topic 1, there's an assessment. So just like really basic, but it is, it will then generate a document that client could give to the person who purchased this for them, or if they've purchased it themselves, they can print it and take it to, the person they use at the end of the day. Topic 2 is all about your will, and as you can see, it's where majority of the course is. So people need to understand what happens if you die without a will. Again, I suppose they understand that something happens, and that's intestacy, but it doesn't seem like a big deal in real life. And so just explaining to them, it might not be for some people, but for those people who it might not be clear who would apply for letters of administration, or where there's conflict, I think that is really important for them to just go, hang on, if I can see one of those scenarios applying to me, it's important. Choosing an executor, I spent a lot of time on that, because I honestly do think it is just one of the best things that you can get right in your estate plan. In my own will and in my husband's will, as an example, we are not each other's sole executor. If something were to happen to one of us at the moment, the reality is that we would be parenting each 3 young children and dealing with grief. Do I need to be the sole executor? Would I like somebody else to be helping me do that? And just, I turn up to the meetings or put the application in front of me and I'll review it and sign it. And I just think that just giving little tips and anecdotes like that show that as the professional, you've really thought about it. These are not abstract concepts. They're decisions that someone is going to have to rely on at some point one day, and we need to be making the best decision that we can for every little step. So yeah, that's why I took so much time there. Gifting in your will, I've done specific gifts and residuary gifts, and then also the catastrophe clause, what happens if everyone's gone, excluded from that. And I did say in my PowerPoint, there are other types of gifts like life interest, and your lawyer can talk to you about how they might apply, or if you've heard about them, why your lawyer might choose not to use them. So that, I mean, I just think it's basic to us, but they do need to know this. Testamentary trust, I'm going to say thank you so much, Tara, for your testamentary trust course. I have been a student for a long time, and I did go back and watch your units in this, and it's really takes practice to make that accessible to clients. It is not an easy concept, I don't think anyway. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And with that, I really took the time to use diagrams and be like, here's the firewall, here's, you know, like a flow of what would happen. And also to spend time saying to them, what are the risks that we're trying to protect against? So that PowerPoint and topic, I think, you know, I'm really proud of that one, because I think if we believe that testamentary trusts have an excellent application for our clients, we need them to understand what it is and how it would apply to them for them to be able to say yes. So, yeah, I think that I've been really happy with. Guardianship of children. Again, I spent, my guide on my website is about this anyway. And I'm actually just going to segue here and say, as an example of once you have created these assets, as you would know, Tara, you can repurpose them. So over Christmas, I will be, I can duplicate this course, and that's how I can co-brand it with anybody who comes on board with me. So on Kajabi, I can copy and paste it, co-brand it with anybody else, and I'm going to duplicate that guardianship of children, and I'm going to make it free over the summer and add some checklists and some different things, and maybe get a guest with a psychologist background as a lead magnet, because I've already created it. And you know, like,
I love it. It's such a valuable way of conveying this information.
Yeah.
Should we address Christiana's question, where she's playing devil's advocate and saying, are you worried that this might arm members of the public who do your course to then go off and DIY their estate plan?
Well, I think, you know what, I'm a conservative person anyway, and I think I'm conservative in the way that I practice. The way that I see this is that it's legal information and it's not advice. And I think that if someone were to make a claim or something was to go wrong, it's going to come down to the reasonable, you know, that reasonable man test. And I just feel really confident that I can share information and say, there is a caveat. This is not advice. I cannot give advice unless I've met you and I practice in your jurisdiction. And I say that really clearly at the first video. I also invested in another lawyer, wrote my terms and conditions. And I just think at the end of the day, sometimes we just have to create and live with, you know, I don't know, I'm really comfortable with living with it. I have thought about it. I know Jenny Piccola in Victoria, I'm going to get this wrong, either from the LSB or the LPLC, so the Practitioners Liability Committee or Legal Services Board. We had a meeting arranged before I released this and it got cancelled, and she did invite me to rebook. But the information that I was getting was that the regulators are really trying to encourage lawyers to be brave and to share our information and make it accessible for clients. I think that the greater worry is that we've got a huge portion of the population that is just never convinced to do this, or that works with lawyers and has no way of checking if they know what they're talking about, or no way of getting a second opinion. And I should take up that offer to have that meeting, but the purpose of the meeting, I think, was to encourage me and say, you know, have all your caveats and your checks and balances and things, but, you know, we're really excited to see lawyers share information.
Can I just put my 2 cents in, Lucy? Having watched the course, I actually think someone who buys this course and watches it will do the opposite. They'll be incentivized to engage a lawyer, because Lucy just does a really good job about making this information accessible removing, I think, the intimidation or some of the barriers about like the scariness of going to see a lawyer, so that people feel like they are armed with information about how to choose a good lawyer, which professionals they need. Like, you really emphasize throughout that it is legal information, not tailored legal advice. What to look for in your estate planning lawyer, the importance of working with a financial advisor, and what happens if things go wrong. Like, you've got case studies about, if the lawyer is in a special, I think you used one example about, there was a mistake in a will that cost $20,000 to rectify because there was like one line about
revocation was missing.
Yeah, the revocation clause was missing, and the importance of doing that, having a law firm versus just a DIY. So I actually think after watching this, you do the opposite. And to be honest, I mean, there's so much information out there in an ad hoc way in terms of law firm marketing, blog posts, YouTube. I mean, I've got a million YouTube videos out there about different topics. Like, I think if they want to DIY it, they can do that anyway. I actually feel like after buying this course and watching it, they'll do the opposite.
Yes, and that is the outcome that I say at the end. I just want you to understand where your money's going, and that it's not necessarily words on the paper. It's the strategy. It's what's not in your will. It's all the decisions you've made. So, yeah, I think that feels safe. But yeah, always a consideration.
And I mean, that's a hard thing. I think I just want to acknowledge that for our profession. In the terms of, with every time you think you want to try and do something innovative, we have this like little devil on our shoulder going, what about the risk? What about, and sometimes I think you just have to find a way, break past that and try and manage the risk as you can. But in the aid of moving our profession forward, which, we have a reputation of being arrogant, of hoarding information, and not making it easy for people to access us with full information about the process and the price. I think Lucy's course is doing its bit to try to move our profession away from that, and I think that's a good thing. So it is hard though. Like, you always have like the regulators saying, but what about the risk?
And I will say, I wonder if it's a bit like, that picture of like the horse tied to like a chair, and they're like, they could move if they wanted, but they're just not. Have you seen that? Yeah. And I'm like, I think before we dismiss, and I'm not insinuating that question was dismissing it, but I think when you have an idea yourself, before dismissing it because you think it's too risky, go check with your regulator. The message I'm getting is that they really want to support us to change, to make it just more affordable and accessible. So the line that I say throughout is, you won't know if your DIY or your online bot, whatever, where you haven't met with a lawyer, you're not going to know if that has worked until you die and you go to rely on it. There is no test until you die and you go to admit it to probate, or until you lose capacity and someone goes to use that power of attorney. You don't find out until it's done. I use the analogy that my husband's an electrician, and if he finishes a job, the lights either turn on or off. Like, they either work or they don't. And so I say to clients, we're just not going to know. So why would you risk it? And I know that people use their discretionary spending on so much stuff that I personally am just like, man, you bought that and you still don't have a will. And I just think that's on us. That's our job to explain to them the value of where the money goes. Yeah. Should I share the last?
Do you want to? Yes. Yeah.
Sure. I'll be super quick. So then the legal requirements, so the formalities, and when a will is automatically revoked. Topic 3 is enduring powers of attorney. I have used New South Wales and Victorian language. And as if, audience were to grow, or my students were to grow again, I will copy and paste and do a New South Wales specific course, Victoria specific course. there is just so much of that information, or the concepts are generally the same, and it would be very easy to change that. So that will happen in time. And then the last one is about advanced care directives and medical treatment decision maker. I do, even though it's titled that, I do use the term and explain equivalent is enduring guardian, and a couple of differences there. So I think that, that's what I want all my clients to know. In the future, this course and my concept lends itself really well to what I will do next, is release masterclasses on really specific discrete areas of law as they interact with estate planning. So family law is, I've already got that underway, and that Rachel Hempling has been a fantastic support and guide to me as I try and get that right. I will do one on contested estates. So I think the concept that your will is not final is just so counterintuitive to the general public that they deserve to know. When we say your estate is at risk of being challenged, they deserve an answer about what is a challenge and how outrageous that we allow challenges, and explaining to them, this is the public policy reason why challenges are allowed, and these are the categories. And so that will be a masterclass. And also loans. I know, Tara, we've DM'd and messaged that the amount of undocumented loans that I've encouraged clients to correct this year is just out of control, and people not actually understanding how high risk it is to have these loans that are undocumented or documented, and the limitation period will have passed, and then you try and rely on it when someone dies, and it's just like the shock that it's worth nothing, the piece of paper, or that, the person who received the loan doesn't do the right thing and put their hand up to have it apportioned, is just, we just, again, need to share that information.
And so, Lucy, I personally think that this can be a really powerful tool in the estate planning toolkit. Particularly, I'm thinking about it through the lens of the financial advisors and accountants who I coach to project manage the estate plan for their clients. Because as we know, financial advisors and accountants, you guys have a heap of your clients who haven't got an estate plan in place, and you're really well primed to motivate them to engage a lawyer, and particularly if you can make that process of engaging a lawyer as streamlined as possible, leveraging your relationship. I think there's a lot of power in that, and I can really see how Lucy's course could be a fabulous first step to complement, your discussions with the client, because not only, your job is usually helping the client overcome their inertia. You've got to do the sales job on the estate plan, and a part of that involves talking to them about what it means. And also, I love that if you've got a resource like Lucy's course where you aren't actually having any kind of conversation about legal concepts, that's great for your PI cover. And I know that I personally think a lot of these concepts, like choosing a guardian, that's not really a legal conversation per se. You don't have to have a law degree to have that conversation. But if you can get someone like Lucy, who's prepared her very best examples and summary, and isn't showing up on the day hoping she just gives remembers everything she needs to say. If you've got her very polished module on that to present to clients, I think that's really, really powerful. So have you, I think, Lucy, we were chatting, you have been working with some financial advisors before about how they could use it to support their estate planning process. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes. So, and thank you to that financial planner who approached me and pointed, when I released it, they were like, yes, I have sent 10 letters to my clients saying, I will pay for your course. It's going to be priced into my existing package. And I think that planner could see the value of removing that hour. I mean, how much is an hour worth to you? And like Tara says, it's that repeat, it's that standardized provision of this this information. So the proposal that I have, or that I've made to people who've contacted me ad hoc, is that, like I said, we duplicate the course just for you, and we can co-brand it and do the welcome video together. Or if you wanted to add any modules, or if you have clients who work in a particular, mostly live in a particular area, we can make sure those Vic docs are, you know, specific to that. So there's lots of scope to make it really bespoke for you. The other thing that I will be doing is the $99 price was always introductory, and because I want to have one price for the general public, and so that will be increasing to $149 in December at some time, and I'm going to keep the $99 cost for professionals who work with me. So any other lawyer, accountant, financial planner, they will keep that price. And so to your client, it's going to look like a really generous gift or service that you're providing. So yeah, I think it has great scope, and yeah, I'm really proud of it. And thank you so much, Tara, and to that planner for pointing out to me, hey, instead of like B2C, maybe there's application for B2B. And when you said that, I was like, yes, probably yes. So thank you.
I totally agree. And Tim, a financial advisor in Melbourne, has just reiterated, yes, they spend so much time educating clients. And I mean, Tim, I know, has a lot of estate planning conversations and is really thinking innovatively about how to help clients with that decision making as well. So, you know, having the course to accompany some of the homework and things that the clients are tasked with is, yeah, really beautiful compliment. And then they can come back and watch it over and over. I just think, you know, the value that they're getting of how many hours of videos are in the course, Lucy?
It is 2.5. I would have loved it to be under, but I just think I think generally this meeting takes me 90 minutes when I do it one-on-one, and I think it's once you know someone's family and circumstances, you can tailor it. So I think it has to be a little bit broader than what it would be if you were having a one-on-one conversation. But also, when you have that one-on-one conversation, there's such skill in not being derailed by the client on this red herring, and you're just like, but I need to cover the powers of attorney. Like, I've got to get to it, and we're running out of time. And I leave a lot of time. I'm very generous with my client appointments, but it's very rare that you get everything out to the standard that you want it at.
Oh, I have the exact same issues. Like, you know, how many times is it like, okay, we've got 10 minutes, we're going to get these power of attorneys explained and signed, and you just think, whoa. And I mean, I love that the course, it's firstly 2.5 hours of your time, and then like the price point is so much value that you're giving them. And then secondly, it's really digestible. So they don't have to sit there and watch a 2.5-hour lecture. They can pick the topics that are of the immediate concern to them and come back and rewatch those and round it out. So, but yeah, like that price point is fantastic. And I can really see, you know, if you're a third party, like a financial advisor or accountant or even another lawyer who wants to add this on, you know, adding $100 into your pricing to be able to offer this, it's worth way more. Like the value is worth way more than that. And either you're going to have less time at your end in the conversations, or more in-depth trust building focused conversations instead of just information conferring. So that information enough times. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Should I share? Sorry, you go.
Oh, well, yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about? You said you had another idea that you have added on to complement the course in the Christmas season.
I did. So thank you. I really wanted to, I know, Tara, you very generously shared this idea when you did your succession law conference talk in Queensland, and the main purpose that I understood it was to say lawyers can be entrepreneurial and it can be fun and creative, and, you know, and so I thought I want to show how lovely it is to be able to have an idea and be creative. And so I created I packaged up my course this Christmas season. If anybody would like to buy it as part of a Christmas hamper for their clients. And so I will show you. I created a landing page. This took me, I'm very lucky, my husband does help me with this, but it took me like one evening, and it's just, I just love being able to have an idea and do it. And so this is my idea this week, and I'm really proud of it. So for anybody who does not have a client Christmas gift for their special clients at the minute, I have packaged up my course for you for the cost of $165. Your client will be sent a gift voucher to the course, which by then will be priced at $149. And on the landing page, everything's hyperlinked, so you can check out the course there. I have partnered with...
Can you add it to the stream? Because I'm having a tech issue where I can't add it for you. Sorry.
Let me...
I just thought it would be nice just for everyone to see what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise we couldn't. Is that on or not now? No, hang on. There we go.
Can you click add to stream? I normally do it for you, but my mouse is like possessed, and I was just casually ignoring my tech issues.
It is not letting me. Hang on, let me see.
Okay.
Maybe I'll go stop screen and then I'll start fresh.
You may not have the rights. I'm having a little tech issue with my mouse where it's just jumping all over, and I've been ignoring it, but it's not letting me do it.
Oh, that's all right. I don't think it's letting me either, but I'll put the link. So what's included is the course, and I don't know, the things that I've actually included are things that I have bought for myself anyway. So when I talk about estate planning, I encourage people to leave a legacy of love for their loved ones, and that means giving them something more than just the documents when you've passed. Oh, there we are. Okay. And so one thing that even before I was, when I had my first son and was just an employee solicitor, I did things like for his first birthday, did like time capsule, got all the guests to like write something, and we have lost both my one grandma, not both, we've lost people who were at that party, and we've got that all sealed up for his 18th birthday. I'm a really sentimental person anyway, and so I partnered with this journal company, Write to Me, which people might be familiar with. They are wildly popular. And I have included in the hamper either their Christmas journal or a family gratitude journal, or there's a grandparents book where the idea is that grandparents document things to leave to their grandchildren and photos and such. And another one, funny things my kids say. So one of those will be included. They sell between $39.95 and $45 basically. And then this is the Christmas ornaments is also something that we have on our tree, and specifically these ones. So they're personalized and they're like a mirrored acrylic ornament, which I think are just beautiful. There's the angel heart or the bauble or the star. And what we have on ours is we have in loving memory of like my mum, who passed away 13 years ago. So she's on our Christmas tree, and a couple of other people. And they're just a beautiful way to acknowledge, especially if one of your clients might have lost somebody this year. I have a couple of clients that I'll be sending them to. And so, yeah, they can be personalized in memorial, or they can just have like the family's name, or you can celebrate like a milestone. I did ask them what their most popular product was, and they said definitely the in memorial, and also baby's first Christmas, and then the year and the name. So they are included. And then obviously beautiful luxury chocolates, cards, gift wrapping, and postage. So when your client receives that, the course for public purchase will be for sale for $149, and this hamper will cost you $165, and it will have all of those beautiful luxury things included. And I just think, I know your clients will love them because they are all the things that I have in my home. That's the kind of shopping that I would do for my friends and family. So hopefully hopefully you like that idea and can see the value in giving a gift that has, you know, a personable touch and a really professional value add.
Wow, that's amazing, Lucy. So thoughtful, and I mean, I think that just summarizes the care that you've put into, you know, designing this hamper, and even the concept of it. I mean, it just shows the care and compassion that you've put into the course and the way that you engage with your clients as well. And it's, Delene saying, I'm going to cry when I see it. It's beautiful. And yeah, I have to echo that as well. It's just gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
So we're right on the top of the hour, and I'm very grateful that you have shared your time so generously to share the course and what an amazing resource it is with the rest of the group. Before we finish up, is there anything that you wanted to say as a concluding comment?
No, just thank you so much for all your support. You have been amazing, and I know if you're doing that for me, I'm sure you're doing it for so many others as well. And yeah, you're so wonderful to so many of us. So thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Lucy. That's I'm just so excited to see what, you know, this group is doing to drive our industry, especially in estate planning, forward. So I'm very inspired by what you've been doing as well, and obviously want to share that. So on that note, well, this recording will be in the group, and what we might do is put the links to the course page and the hamper page in there for people who want to check it out further. And of course, Lucy is very active in our group as well. So if you do have any more questions for her, or if you're watching this recording, throw your questions in still, and Lucy and I should both see it, and we'll be able to comment and keep the conversation going. Lucy, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to hear about what you've been working on behind the scenes, and I'm so excited to see it's all currently live.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, have a fabulous day, and we'll finish up there. Thank you.